something just happened at our nation's airports that hasn't happened since March, and it could be the reason why airline stocks were higher today. Let's get to Phil LeBeau, who's got the details. Phil.
Melissa, that something is that for the first time since March 17th, more than 1 million people flew in one day here in the United States. That may not seem like a huge deal, but it is an important milestone. When you look at this chart, keep in mind that it was down as low as just 90,000 people flying at its low point in mid-April. Keep in mind also that it's still down 61% compared to where passenger travel was on the same day a year ago. Nonetheless, airline stocks did move higher. When you take a look at the airline index, it was also up today. The airlines are preparing for gradual recovery in passenger levels. They are not expecting this to be, boom, take off. A lot of people are going to start flying again. They know that it's a gradual recovery. So we're focusing on 4 stocks here. The 4 big majors here in the U.S. Let's start first off with Southwest and Delta. Why are we looking at them? These are 2 airlines that have said, we're keeping the middle seat free at least through the holidays. That's the plan as of right now, though when we talked with Southwest CEO Gary Kelly just a few weeks ago, he said, look, Harvard's public health study is coming out, taking a look at the safety of airplane travel. That'll come out likely in the next few weeks. That'll give them some indication if they can say, okay, it's going to be time for people to get used to having somebody sitting next to them in the middle seat. That has always been the case for both United and American. Both of those airlines have said, look, we have looked at this. We believe that it is safe if people are masked and following protocols. And as a result, they have been putting people in middle seats on their airplanes. They've also been notifying passengers saying, look, your flight may be full. Be prepared. If you're not happy with it, you can take a different flight. So 2 approaches as we go into a period here, Melissa, where eventually Southwest and Delta, as more people are flying, will feel that pressure to perhaps start putting people in the middle seat. They're not quite there yet, but you can expect that as more people fly, that question will come up more often with them.
Is there a delayed effect, Phil, in terms of the numbers being up right now, and maybe people had booked these trips when the numbers were still decent a month or 2 months ago or so, and that there could be an expectation that things could actually go reverse, in a month or 2 months?
Sure. Well, and it all has to do with the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I think most people in the airline industry are saying, if we see a surge and you start to see quarantines and lockdowns, those are the 2 things that really kill airline travel. I mean, if you're supposed to be going someplace and then there's a quarantine that's put into effect, you're not going to go. And so those are the things that they're going to be looking for. As of right now, we're not seeing that. We are seeing more restrictions in certain areas around the country, and that certainly hurts in terms of there may be less things that are open when you get to an area. But if you don't see quarantines or lockdowns in place, you may see a gradual recovery continue.
Phil, thanks. Phil LeBeau. I understand the part about quarantines and lockdowns, Dan Nathan, but I'm still scared of the virus. Maybe I'm just sort of in that camp of being extremely, extremely cautious when it comes to air travel. But I think there is still fear because there's no vaccine, and some treatments have been questioned, such as the WHO questioning the efficacy of remdesivir.
Yeah. So if Guy could shut his dog up for a second here, maybe I get a word in. But I'll just tell you this, what's going on in Europe right now? I just saw a headline that Ireland wants to shut down restaurants, bars, that sort of thing. We know that Paris has done it. We know that Amsterdam is thinking about doing it to some extent. The issue here is visibility, and specifically here in the United States, where if you want to go away over the holidays, but if you go somewhere and it goes on a hotspot list and you come back and then you have to quarantine for 14 days and that affects your kid's school or possibly your work, you're not going to do it, right? So we just don't have the visibility right now. And what do airlines need to do? They need to plan. They need to kind of book routes and all that sort of stuff. So I just don't think that consumers have that sort of visibility right now. And on the business front, lights out. Guy just said it in the last block. Why is Zoom up 20% in a week and a half or so? No businesses are planning to have their people banging around the country or internationally anytime soon.
Yeah, Guy, can you be a believer in Zoom and the airlines at the same time?
Yeah, I guess theoretically you could, but I think Zoom is your tell. The price action in Zoom over the last couple of weeks suggests we're not close to getting to the other side of this thing. I'm not saying that with any glee. I'm just trying to read the tea leaves here. And in terms of, the million people traveling or the TSA numbers, that would be great, in my opinion, if it was on the back of this virus dissipating in some way. I think it's just on the back of people getting lazy. And I'm going to use that word because I think that's what it is. I think people are just
antsy.
Getting tired of being in the same place. Or antsy, lazy, antsy.
Yeah.
Use the adjective you want to use. You know, with that said, Dan just hit the nail on the head. In New Jersey, the last I looked, there are 36 states that if you go to, you have to quarantine for 14 days, and Guam and Puerto Rico. I mean, that doesn't augur particularly well. The one name that sticks out to me continues to be Delta. It hangs in there really well. They just made some comments about potentially being cash flow break even by the spring of 2021. That's the one airline I would continue to take a look at here.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.